Make the loudest fucking noise. Just smash a window for all you care. Don't actually. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Mindless Show. I am your host, McWiz. Mr. Mindless. I keep forgetting what the fuck my name is anymore. Who cares? I mean, people used to think I was called Dinkle McWizwam or whatever the fuck. I don't care.
We just said McWizwam.
We've gone to we're nearing the end of the show, so it's like no one gives a shit anymore. Alright, today's topic is profanity, which is swearing and sex and nudity as well. That's probably in a bracket in the title.
That's the first thing you're going to talk about.
Profanity is mainly just swearing, and I want to call the title swearing, but I thought profanity makes it sound smarter. Yeah. And also because I can confuse the audience, make them believe that it also has stuff to do with sex and nudity, but it's just kind of on the basis.
You should almost just call the episode Censored, because that way it covers everything. And you just have to imagine what's behind the censored bit.
And censored is creative.
Okay, that's the new episode name, Censored.
Yeah, you can put like...
That has happened before where I completely changed the name of the topic in the middle of the episode without even realising.
Yeah.
So this is the censored topic. I am joined by Schmidlab and Janice, a new guest.
I can't say anything.
If this comes out before any other episodes with him in it. Or any good topics, I don't know. Alright, so I might not talk too much throughout the episode until my throat becomes completely numb. I have a very sore throat.
Why? Why are you even filming?
I don't know, because I like talking and I don't have friends.
Dedication.
Yes, yeah. Even when I have cancer, I will still be filming this show. Even when I'm dead, I will still be filming.
Depends on what kind of cancer, really. You know, like there are people with cancer that still...
Well, I'm planning to go back on Tumblr soon.
Oh boy! Tumblr's a great place.
So, alright, so I want to talk firstly about swearing when it comes to censure and stuff. And firstly about kids and swearing. Why are kids not allowed to swear?
Because their parents say they can't.
Yeah.
That's
I just find it so weird that society's just like, kids can't swear. I'm like, why? It's just part of the English language.
Well...
I think it's generally, it's bad behaviour, right? And generally when people think, wow, what do I want my kid to be? They're gonna associate swearing with a bunch of like negative things.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna want them to swear.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's kind of like how we grow up. We've risen to like, when we learn what swear words are and whatever, and we find out that they're actually bad, we realise like, oh, this is why we shouldn't say them, and then when we end up saying them, they end up becoming a source of how we release our anger and stress and whatever. And I'm like, they have so much emotion behind them, yet they're just, like, one of the words is literally something that comes out of you. It's literally excrement. I mean, seriously.
Wait, are we going to censor this show? Like,
I don't know. The editor, Julia, the editor, Julia, who totally still exists, yeah.
That shouldn't be a thing anymore, seriously. Been using that since like 2 years ago. God.
Yes. I do apologise for Indigo as well, and her cousin Bogan. I will slap her in the face.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a feature of the whole show. You know it's real.
Yes. Yeah, so I just find it interesting because I think I know some people some actual parents, like these are the people I watch like on YouTube and whatever, who don't really care and like open with swearing around their kids. But they're not really so open with their kids watching content where people are actually constantly swearing. So I'm kind of like, it's just weird. Like, of course, like this is the whole aspect of like freedom of speech and whatnot. Behind, like you can totally swear whenever, yet it's like certain like against like maybe even against the law in certain countries and whatever. Like we in Australia can say, but then and like of course it can be taken really wrong. But then because it's kind of slang in a way for us. Like if we go to like another country, say for example England, which I know someone who went to England and said like everyone in the room just looked at him like, what the is wrong with you? And I was just like, yeah, so in certain places with certain people, these words might, trigger them. They're sensitive words.
To go back to the point where you said that some people are okay with swearing around their kids, but not okay with swearing, not okay with their kids watching programs in which there's a lot of swearing. It might be because in programs where there's a lot of swearing, there's also other things like violence, nudity, whatever. Yep. And that might...
It just sort of encourages the rest of it,
Yeah, like I remember when we first, as a family, started watching Game of Thrones. Like,
wait, as a family?
Jeez, hold on.
I never heard those words, Game of Thrones as a family. Like, you know...
It was one of those shows that you just watch with your family, you know? It really showed that it's so good.
Yeah. No, maybe your family, not mine. Like, yeah.
No, like my family does nothing together, so...
That's fair.
Yeah, not the least watching TV together.
But yeah, like, I suppose when you get swearing, I mean, when's the time people commonly say it's when they have sex? Is it?
Not always. I would say people would say more outside of sex than in sex.
Who knows what they're saying in sex?
I know.
Wait, what? I'm not gonna ask. Just gonna.
Well, I mean, people might not say anything during sex, to be honest. You don't have to say I mean,
that would be awkward, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it could be like one of those in-the-moment things, or it could be just like, yeah, let's just get this over with kind of things. Like,
I don't think that's... if you're wanting for it to end, then that's not enjoyable sex.
Yeah.
I mean, again, going back to Game of Thrones, there were some, again, like, there were sections in that where people swear like crazy while they're having sex, and like, okay, sure. If this is what you think sex is like, then go for it. Directors, screenwriters.
That's Game of Thrones. Like, I heard like one episode when my brother was watching it, and I just didn't understand. It felt like someone got it like Lord of the Rings and just drawn dicks all over the book.
That's pretty much what it is. It's just Lord of the Rings, but MA. But yeah, it's.
I mean, technically, Lord of the Rings is MA. If you were to accentuate the drinking and the smoking in Lord of the Rings, you could get an MA 15, right? In Australia, at least.
Does drinking cause MA 15?
No, it's the drugs, perhaps.
Yeah, I think drugs.
Excessive drug use.
Yeah.
I was gonna say alcohol's like pretty mundane.
Yeah, I don't get it, especially in Australia.
Yeah. Better or worse.
Yeah, but what was I saying again? So yeah, with as it sounds, watching as a family, it's mainly I don't know. Mum bought it for my older brother, so we could, and then we all ended up watching the first episode, and of course the first season has a ton of sex scenes and nudity and all kinds of stuff. And whenever that should happen, literally whenever like a sex scene or a nude scene or anything like that happened on screen, even if it was like a brief thing, my mom was always like, turn away. She would always tell us to look away.
How old were you when you watched this?
Oh, this was maybe even just 2 years ago, like 2, 3 years ago. So this is still when I'm like 15, 16. So it's like I'm legally allowed to kind of watch the show. Like younger brother, not so much, even though he was only 2 years younger than me. But like really gives a shit. He watches the kind of shit I watch nowadays. Who gives a and then obviously my older brother, who doesn't really, he doesn't like go out of his way to watch that kind of material. I mean, I don't think anyone in my family really does. Like. I know like certain people who like their parents and stuff who have like certain like foreign films that are very filled with sex, like for example French films.
The entirety of SBS.
Yeah.
Can't allowed to say that.
Everything of SBS is just sex and nudity and violence. It's HBO for Australia. Yeah, and so they're one of the parents has like a whole like collection of French films, and that a lot of them just happen to be MA or R18 because they just happen to have a lot of sex nudity. Because again, that kind of I don't really think I can say it because it's a European country, because that's probably racist.
I mean, because France's culture regarding sex and nudity is a lot laxer than Australia's.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's simple as that. Like they look at these films like, oh, I don't think like it's right to watch this, and like you watch them. Some of them are just like romantic comedies that just happen to have a ton of sex scenes in them. And like a lot of them sometimes don't even like one film that I think it's a film called Q, and I know because it's on that shelf.
Yeah, just look there for it.
It's a French film that goes for maybe 3 hours, and the whole like the film kind of advertises itself as a film about a group of prostitutes who live. I think they live and work in a brothel, but then they end up like being able to do their like they break free and end up being able to do their own thing. But then you actually watch the film, that doesn't even happen like for the first like, hour and a half. Like and like there's no like real proper anything graphic for such a long time in the film, and yet it's got such this high rating. And you're like, okay, sure. I mean, sure, if you want to, okay. I mean, I haven't finished the film, so I don't really know. I mean, I've only seen like the first like hour of it, and I'm just like, it's not even that great a film, to be honest. Like, it's pretty amateur, to be honest. Yeah, but again, it's just a French film. It's just a film. Like, I love French films. So.
French films are amazing.
Yeah, but it's just so weird, like how some of them have such like weird, like what are weird sex scenes in film? Like say like Amelie, for example. Like it has like one of the scenes in like the first 10 minutes is Amelie's on a roof and she's like, I wonder how many people are having sex right now. And it has like this montage of different people having sex in even really awkward ways or gratuitous ways. And then she ends up counting a random number of like 16 or something. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is okay, sure. I mean, I'm 10 years old watching this film. I'm totally cool with watching this.
Honestly, when I was younger, like, because, you know, SBS, once again, all the French films.
Yeah.
There is a film where someone is masturbating and pierces his nipple with a ribbon of someone else because he was in love with her.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay.
SBS.
Well,
that's French films. French films.
Or if you want to, you could go to like 80s and 90s films that just have unnecessarily gratuitous nudity and sometimes really lame as shit sex scenes. I mean, have you watched the original Terminator film? The first Terminator has such...
any film.
It's the only one
Yeah,
franchise that actually has a sex scene, but again, it's a sex scene that's relative to...
Is it really a sex scene?
It's a very cheap sex scene. I mean, you get like mostly like bits of like side boob and like front boob, and that's like it. And like most of it's like gratuitous shots, just like hands and shit and stuff like that. And like this is so for its time period, and like there are so many films just like that. It's just the time period that they make films like this. I mean, you watch pornos from back then, and even them, they're so easily dated. It's disturbing. I'm not going to mention how I know all this stuff. I know all of this.
Yeah, we're just about that you know, and leave it at that.
Just I know all the above. I'm the one who always clicks all the above on those multiple choice questions.
Okay.
But yeah, so going back to swearing. Do you guys actually have a favourite swear word?
Favourite swear word?
Currently it's word. Because it's just really good to use.
I have recently tried to abstain from using particular swear words and resort to Old English slurs, perhaps. Because, like, you know, I can't remember the most recent one I've used. I wouldn't want to utter it here. But I suppose if there's any time to do it, it'd be here. So, I can't remember.
Well, I think. I mean, to be honest, like with words, I think I got to a point as well, like where I question where I first learned swear words, and I don't know if it was more with brother or friends from primary school, because I definitely know it was during my primary school years. And so when I got to high school, I used to swear a lot more often. Like I used to swear like every second word, but that was because like the people I watched on YouTube swore every second word, so it just happened to be my nature. And that was like for a couple of months, which is disturbing as it is. For a couple of months, like every single word is or or whatever. Or, you know,
don't let your parents know.
Yeah, and like, but the thing is, like when you get home and you say that kind of Mom always used to say like she always used to say like, especially as a kid, like, oh, don't say that word, I'll wash your mouth up with soap. Yeah. People actually still do that. I've never had my mouth washed out with soap, which is great.
I know, because like you probably, if you like swallowed it, you'd probably just die.
Oh.
Well, I suspect you'd get very sick.
I mean, you want to be new, fresh soap, not used.
Yeah, that would probably help.
You can eat soap, right?
I think you probably could actually.
Sorry about that.
Depends what it's made out of, I guess.
Yeah.
Animal fat, you're probably okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, or from Fight Club, just human fat. It's a good film.
Okay.
But yeah, so there was a lot of points there, even like when I was a teenager, my mum was always like, you can only start, like, I can only properly start swearing when I'm 18, because like it's like I'm really, like, legally
if only
allowed.
we obeyed that rule.
Clap there. Like she's just like, I'm not allowed to swear at home until I'm 18. I'm like, okay. And even when I swear now, she still doesn't like it. I'm like, I don't even care. I don't care when I swear, like, usually unless I swear particularly, again, full of emotion, which usually I don't anymore, because I don't give a shit about most things anymore. But then I usually just swear is just every couple of words, because it's just, in my opinion, it's just a part of...
How you speak.
Yeah, it's just part of how you speak, and it's a part of... You, like, in this case, I'd say like the English language, because I don't really know any like swear words from other languages, even though I learned Italian for 9 years, and I can't remember anything of Italian, except probably numbers.
Everyone remembers the numbers.
Always the numbers. But yeah, it was always just that weird thing of like I know all these swear words and I can say them, but I don't really give a to, but I still do. Like, and sometimes I say them.
You've been
just
desensitized to them.
Yeah, I'm so used to it. Like, it's the same with
Yeah.
like sex scenes and nudity on TV. Like, I'm so used to all this censored stuff that it doesn't do anything. Like violence, incredibly graphic violence on films and whatnot, it doesn't affect me at all. You know? And so even when I see that stuff from the news, that's when it kind of gets tricky. Because like, what about that kind of aspect where like people may like swear on the news or whatever, and of course they bleep it out or whatever. Like when there's material that needs to be censored or that's caused by censored material on the news, it's always more disturbing. Like you've got a whole bunch of people who have just died from like a tsunami, or like there's been a massacre, or like, you know, another shooting in America, you know, that kind of shit. And it's just like, you kind of feel like, are you gonna feel empathy for these people? Like they've just like these people have just lost their lives. These people have just lost their family and relatives and all kinds of stuff. And it's kind of like, I sometimes feel desensitized because of the kind of films and TV shows I watch. It's not like I go out of my way to watch violent TV shows. I just happen to watch shows.
Yeah.
Like really interesting shows, like say Breaking Bad happens to have violence. It happens to have people dying. And usually the drama is so intense on those shows that you actually feel something for these characters. And then you watch something like EastEnders where they kill off a character like that and you're like, I don't really give a shit. It's a soap opera.
They're all going to die eventually.
Yeah, it's who really cares?
I must say, with swearing, a weird thing that happened in my family is for a while, like when I was in early primary school, shut up was a swear word in my house.
Yeah, I mean, well, damn used to be a swear word back in the day.
So is bloody. Like, some people might say bloody still is, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's so many words, like even so many words that are associated with certain slang, especially Australian slang, like bloody hell and stuff like that. People can consider that a swear word. So you say that in primary school, you're going to get like detention or some shit. I'm like, it's so weird how people have enforced these ideologies for these certain words. Like, what if these words weren't designed for, like, what if someone just said because they were actually talking about literal
but
like the actual stuff that you were crapping out of you. But then, like, when did these words become so sensitive?
But, well, for starters, they're always synonyms, so you could argue that, like, people who are using shit are going out of their way to describe it in, like, a more of a negative way. They could describe it like poo or, like, I don't know, feces or excrement, even though that's a bit, like, posh and forensic.
I suppose more often than not, though, they're talking about something horrible, like they just want to say that thing is shit. You know, and then and substituting the word poo probably wouldn't serve the same purpose.
Well, even then, you can say stuff like horrible, terrible. Yeah. Like, and it wouldn't be as strong of a negative effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Because usually using swear words is as an emphasis.
Yeah.
And that's really all I use swear words these days, is that it's just for an emphasis, or I just use it casually in conversation because I don't give a
shit. Pain relief. You know?
Or pain relief, yeah. That's like the three different reasons I use swear words: for pain relief, because it's for emphasis, or because I just accidentally have said it without really caring, because it's so accustomed in my speech.
Yeah, I suppose that's what's true of a lot of people, I guess.
Yeah, so it's I think it's just interesting, but like, at the same time, like, you look at it with kids, and them have not been allowed to swear and stuff like that, but then at the same time, like, I was watching, I think it was I was watching Louis C.K. the other day, and he was saying how, and I can't quote him because I kind of fell asleep after I watched the live show, get out of these stuff. And so he mentioned how like kids aren't allowed to swear, so you can't actually like swear at your kids and stuff like that, and it's not like, because it's not healthy, of course. And yet at the same time, you go to a fast food restaurant and like kids are eating literal diabetes, and it's like, why is that not a bad thing? Like, they're eating fast food, which has all this stuff, which is not good for you, but like, and that's literally for your actual health, and that could actually kill you. And you but then like you allow them that, but then you don't allow them to swear. I kind of find it as stupid.
Well, I mean, it's all about a balance, you know. The kid, if maybe the parents just letting the kids have some fun once in a while, go with McDonald's, you know. And maybe, but I can't imagine parents saying to the kids, "Oh, you know, you can swear for a day."
Yeah, I mean, like, I can understand this obviously idea of maybe the people don't have enough money, so they go to fast food, or like they've got like parent-teacher interviews or some shit like that, so they've got to get fast food on the way. That kind of stuff. So like there are obviously simple matters for why you would allow a kid to eat fast food. But then, like, if you were constantly allowing them to eat fast food every single day, like, here, have KFC, a bucket of fried chicken every day of your life, so much so that you'll have an unlimited amount of buckets that you can put in your head because you're actually now mentally retarded because you've eaten so much KFC.
Infinite number of Monopoly stickers.
Yes, exactly. All that stuff. And it's just like, I have all the Happy Meal toys from the 1970s. And no one was...
But you could sell them and get like a ton of money.
Yeah, especially like the first Happy Meal toys.
Yeah, you easily could. And it's just like, but again with fast food, like how they convince kids like, oh, come eat our stuff that will kill you, but you get a toy. I'm like, yeah, I'll trade a toy for my life. Sure, it's like.
Hey man, it might be a really good toy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it could be a really burger.
I mean, that's.
It could be a burger made of.
Oh well, these days who knows.
Yeah, but it's just I just find that kind of thing like just a living contradiction that like you allow your kids fast food which will actually kill them and it's bad for their health. Yet you say the swearing is bad for your health. Like I had a joke for my younger brother that whenever he swore I always said it's bad for your health even though I just didn't like when he swore because he's not good at saying swear words. Certain people are not good at saying swear words and it's just like just don't bother. It doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
Say it in private or say it to someone else who doesn't have an idea what tone it is or.
It's like it's usually those polite people who haven't sweared for like most of their life, and then as soon as they say one, it's like what?
Wrong. Yeah.
It's like what is
you've
it?
broken part of the universe.
There's that freaking is it Arnold? That Arnold meme from like 2016 of like it's
That was ages ago.
Yes,
How do you expect us to remember this?
Yeah, no, what? What is this?
It was a long time ago. I will admit
Wait,
that.
you mean Arnold the Nickelodeon character?
Yeah, from the TV show. Like, animated.
This was a 2016
So
meme?
there was a 2016 meme. There was two memes. One of them was, of course, the fact that he's like got ears up here, yet he was wearing headphones on his. Wait, you.
Is this Arthur?
No, it's
Is it
Arnold.
Arthur? Is it Arthur or Arnold? I don't know which one it is.
Wait, what's
mean-
the shape of the head? Is it a football shape or is it a normal shape?
Because there's an Arthur meme with like his fist.
That's
Arthur.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
the 2016 meme. You're doing
That's-
Arnold and I was like, what?
I'm like, yeah, I can't remember if it was Arthur or Arnold. That's okay. So Arthur, yeah. So that's the thing I was talking about. That meme where like people were saying like how it's such a good meme for the idea of because it's the exact feeling that someone who's completely passive. When they get aggressive, they just do this.
Yeah.
Because it's like a show literally about a mouse dude who just happens to be passive.
He's an armadillo. He's an armadillo.
Wait, is that what Arthur is?
Isn't he?
It's
He's
like he has
something obscure.
He has the two like really weird shaped ears, and you don't. I know. Every time I watch the show as a kid, I'm just like, oh yeah, that person's like a mouse, and this person's like.
He looks like a mouse.
I think it's supposed to be like alliteration, like Arthur the Armadillo, Buster the Bunny. I don't remember the other names. I don't even know if his name's Buster, but
No, that is his name. I'm pretty
I'll
sure.
look them up, but like
Every day when you're walking down the street.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I used to watch that show as a kid. I can't remember anything
Watch
about
the
it.
Beats as a kid.
Arthur.
It's just we had the games on our primary school computers.
that's so cool.
Like there was like this game where it's just a giant pyramid and you just sort of move through it as one of the characters and it's
Of
like
course,
full
it's
of ladders.
amazing.
It feels like Snakes and Ladders, except it wasn't. I don't know. I haven't played those games in years.
What? Aardvark.
Oh, Aardvark.
It's speckled Aardvark Arthur Reed. Arthur Reed, that's his name.
Yeah.
Demonstrates to kids how to deal with such childhood traumas and challenges as homework, teachers, and bullies.
Didn't they have an episode on censorship?
I wouldn't.
That
be
seems like a
surprised.
bit of a deep subject.
20
No, 'cause
seasons.
I remember there being an episode where they had a giant bleeping button. And someone was beeping what someone else was saying.
I love it in the IT crowd. They have an actual censor joke. I think it's the first. It's got to be the first season, or it's the second season, like the first episode of it. There's an episode where have any of you two have you seen the IT crowd?
I've seen a few episodes.
Which one? The IT? Oh no, I haven't. I've only seen like one.
So there's an episode where Random, who's the boss of Random Industries, he's like doing a trade with these. I think they're probably Japanese, they're Asian of some kind. I can't remember what. But like he's trading with. I think they're Japanese because they make certain like Godzilla jokes. and so they're making a trade like for the partnership and whatever. And so like the Japanese guys, I'm just gonna call them Japanese if they're not. I'm sorry if they're not. The Japanese guys give them a sword, and then the Americans give the guy Doc Martens. So like, these are the really big ones, and so he puts them on, he starts stomping, he's like, and the translator's like, yeah, oh, like he feels like Godzilla, like, yes, Godzilla, yes. So he's like, stop them, so he's stomping, and I'm like, so at the same time, Jen is walking down the hall, and she's got her feet completely mangled because of these shoes that she bought that were too small for her, and so she's walking down this hallway with no shoes on, and the guy jumps up and lands on her feet, and she screams and swears like crazy. Everything is bleeped out. And then the translator translates it all, which adds to the joke. And then to top it off, Brennan thanks the guy who he was going to fire for buying Doc Martens for a Japanese person. Who would do that? Because he kept clicking a censor button because it was just there on the wall. And it's just like for hitting the censor button, you keep your job. But Jen, you fuck fired, you know. And just after, like a second after he says the swear word, the guy believes it. And he's watching go to do it, and it's just like, this is just one whole like minute-long gag that's like 2-3 minute-long gag that's just built up for the whole episode. It's just great. All to do with just swearing. It's f***ing great.
That sounds like really good writing.
It really is. It's such a terrific show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love when they even have stuff like that. I mean, I think it's Rick and Morty. I noticed that when you actually watch the show, I'm very sure, I actually have confused myself as to whether or not, I think they bleep out every single swear word. And they swear, they swear in abundance in that show.
Unless they swear in like an alien language.
Yeah, unless they swear in alien language, like glip glop.
Yeah.
Which is so good. It's like I can't remember Rick's comparison. It's like mixing like the N word with like the C word. And like then later that episode is like, what up my glip glops? To like, a whole bunch of like guys, and it's just like that's just hilarious. But like, I'm very sure they bleep out every single swear word. And then so this guy on YouTube was just like, this is the show without any censors. So I watched him like, it doesn't make any difference because your brain knowing these voices automatically fills in what they're saying, and sometimes it adds to a joke if they're bleeping it out. So it's just like
One thing going into comedy, like, do you think that it's funny when they bleep it out or when they keep it in? Because it happened to me once when I was watching QI. There was a repeat. There was a QI episode. There was a repeat of the episode, and the first one just had the swearing in it. The second one they bleeped it out, and it was weird because I would say it kind of felt a bit more funny.
When they bleeped it out?
Yeah, when they bleeped it out, because perhaps your mind inflates the swear word or the joke.
I think it does.
Around it.
With censoring the swear words, I think for censoring the swear words, especially like saying like live comedy shows and stuff like that, like there are always times when people are gonna swear, and sometimes a lot of people's jokes have to have swear words. You always ask, why the f*** do you need swear words in your shows? Like it doesn't always add to the joke, but sometimes, of course, it adds to the joke for the viewer when they bleep it out. So I guess it depends on the joke and really the context. Like if the show itself is regulated so it doesn't have swear words, then maybe it's funny that way. But maybe if the joke in particular that this person is saying has a lot of swear words and it needs the swear words, but then they bleep it out anyway, it's like, I don't know. You know, sometimes a joke can fail because where it's being showed on TV or on the internet, the swear words are being bleeped out. So it's, I just find it very interesting how that kind of, how that all intertwines. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, I just find it funny. I mean, I've been watching so much of Louis C.K. right now, and he's like the 2 shows I've watched in the past 2 days have mostly been him talking about, it always has to do with something about sex and nudity in some kind of way. I mean, one of the jokes was literally him talking about having watched 2 rats having sex in a subway.
Sounds delightful.
Yes.
Everyone's dream.
It's so mental how these people can just so openly talk about that. But again, that's kind of a part of the joke because it's these are such topics like with sex and nudity and swearing like this. There's such topics that sometimes they don't. It's not an everyday thing in a way, unless I know you're a massive who happens to get laid every day or some kind of like that. Just something where it's literally everything about it, or maybe you just watch a lot of porn. I don't know. But like it's just weird how like a lot of comics use a lot of like talk about these sensitive subjects for this exact reason because it adds to the comedy, and like that's just because that's what the media has taught us. Like that talking about sex and talking about nudity and talking about swearing, it's all bad and that you shouldn't do it. I'm just like, it's so weird. But at the same time, I can also respect people who like when they censor out certain like sex scenes or nudity or swear words, whatever, in certain TV shows. Like I can understand why they do it. I'm not saying that they should openly swear in a children's show. I mean, for f***'s sake, they made a bong in play school.
Did they?
Yeah.
I feel like I did it by accident.
The guy
but
accidentally made a bong in play school.
it was funny.
I mean, anything could be a bong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, anything.
I think they were blowing bubbles with it or something really, really mundane.
Yeah. And Nico doesn't know whether to bark or not. She's been told off too much. But yeah, it's I just find it funny. So any final thoughts on censorship?
No.
Crap.
Yeah.
Good one.
Alright, this has been another episode of The Mindless Show. I have been your host, Mr. Mindless, joined by Janice and Schmidlab. And in the goes by...
Spell Janice.
Janice. Janice.
Okay. Because I've seen it spelled with a U at the end. US. Janice.
Oh, that's Janice.
Janice?
Yeah.
Huh, what do you know?
I also have no idea why he's called Janice. I mean, why is he called Schmidlab? We already know why he's called Schmidlab. Because he can't spell.
Oh yeah, because I spelled it wrong, didn't
Yeah, she spelled it wrong.
Oh.
It's based on Schmidlab, who's a character from the Batman film.
Wait, Schmidlab.
Yeah, from the original.
With a D?
Yeah.
I thought I got something else from.
No, it's just you spell Schmidlab, like L-A-B.
I thought I was surprised.
Yeah. Alright, we've gone over this in multiple episodes throughout the first season. I don't know why. Alright, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Feel free to like, share, subscribe for more. There is more Mindless Show to come. I know which one's the final, and this one ain't it.
Probably not.
Easily not. Alright, I'm going to turn on the air conditioner because I can't
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Goodbye.
So, cut the camera.
Say farewell.
Farewell.
Cut the camera.